Cool. So just picked this guy up from a garage sale. Apparently, it was actually used in the latest Tame Impala music video. It's pretty cool. They could have just told me that, but who knows? Um, so I want to have fun. Just try and make a track of this. See what happens.
Just introduce yourself
Okay.
for me.
Yo, what it do? It's your boy Chizzy, known as Chizzy Stephens. I'm from Augusta, Georgia. I currently live in Los Angeles, California.
And what do you do? Like, what's your career?
Man, a lot. I would say songwriter, producer, composer. Then you wrap that up into creative entrepreneur. I'm an artist as well. I've developed an app. I just like to create. I'm a creator.
Tell us a little bit more about that stuff. Like, what do you find yourself doing most?
Yeah, definitely songwriting and producing is definitely like my passion. That's how I got started. That's like my main thing that I would say I'm doing majority of the day is creating songs or producing songs, composing. Yeah, I just try to have fun with it.
It's awesome. And how long have you been doing it?
So I've been, I would say professionally, the last 6.5, 7 years. But I've been around music, man, since I was like in sixth grade. Yeah, I started playing the trumpet. Well, I actually was in drums, and then I switched over to the trumpet, and I played the trumpet all the way up until I graduated.
One more.
And what do you do to get yourself into that creative mentality?
That's a good question. I don't think I have a formal process, but kind of looking back, there's two things that usually happens every day. I gotta have a cup of coffee, and I'm usually listening to a podcast. And those podcasts are usually somebody that's inspirational, or people who have very interesting stories, or something just to like feed me like knowledge, or so I can potentially learn something that I didn't know the day before. And then after that, it's just listening to music, listening whether that's old stuff, new stuff. I don't know. I just kind of go through and just listen to stuff, and then I'll hear something like, "Oh, that's cool," and then I'll kind of backtrack with like, "How did they make that sound?" or "What were those chords?" or "How did they do that?" and just kind of playing with the stuff that's already out there and reverse engineering it.
You find inspiration from, well, first of all, any podcast you'd like to like you would recommend?
Yeah,
listen to
yeah,
for
for
inspiration?
sure. One I listen to a lot is Gary Vee. Shouts out to Gary Vee. Listen to that one a lot. Lewis Howes. Water and Music's a new music podcast. Recode, Decode, to like stay up on the tech stuff. Yeah, those are kind of some of the most immediate ones that come to mind.
And what about, are there any days where you have to create and then you have to try and get yourself into that mentality to create? And what do you
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess it's because this is like, it is a job, but I try not to look at it as a job, but I still treat it like that in the sense of where every day I'm creating something, whether that's music or working on the business or different ideas, whether that's for an app or a TV. Like I'm always creating something. Like I have to be creating something. And so I don't necessarily think I feel forced. It's just kind of something that I have to do. And it's going to come out one way or another, you know?
So, like, how do you look at art personally? This is building from a question from a past interview, but like,
Yeah.
how do you describe art as a whole? Like, what's the purpose of art?
I feel like art is life. I feel like art is a form of passion, escapism. I'm a lover of the arts, like people expressing themselves in different ways, sometimes telling their story, telling other people's stories, or just being able to like vent and get things off of their chest, whether that's a song or putting that passion and hunger into dance or drawing something. Like you have a blank canvas and you're coming up with these different things, as a painter or as a musician. Like you're painting on silence. You have nothing, absolutely nothing, and you have to come up with these sounds and notes and lyrics and things that hopefully that people enjoy, and sometimes they don't. But the cool thing about it is, as long as you're having fun doing it and you're speaking your truth, or just just having fun with it, other people are going to relate to that.
So what would you say your purpose in art is? Like, what do you create for?
Yeah, I create. Well, I would kind of break it down. So as a producer and a writer, my job in working with artists is to help them tell their story. That artist may be going through something that day and they want to write a song about a breakup. The artist may just be in a happy mood and want to write feel-good music, just having fun. So as a producer and songwriter, my job is to help them tell that story. And you add your own flair in there as well. And what's the beautiful thing about inspiration is it comes from everywhere. You might do a song and then look back and you're like, oh, that's what I was inspired by. About that time I went out to that party and met that person. But you have no idea when you're doing it. You're just writing from your heart, your feelings, and what you've been through. As an artist myself, I write from the standpoint of, I like to create, but I like to tell stories that either I've been through or other people been through. I'm the type of person who I'm a really great listener, so I do more listening than talking. And so with that, I find a lot of times when I'm writing music is telling stories from other people's perspectives and my perspective and mixing them all, into one, and then just have this story where you kind of have different, personalities from different areas. And so I like being able to blend that, because I think everybody has different experiences, and it's about, bringing that all together into something that's, solid that you can enjoy.
So like, everybody also has bad creative days, as you know. What is your method to dealing with that, or your reset?
That's a good question. The power of resetting is really important. So what I've kind of learned to do, if there's a day where I'm just like not feeling it creatively, I don't really force it. I try to do other things that I like, whether that's reading a book or listening to a podcast or listening to music or watching a movie. I used to feel bad about when I had days like that where like, I can't work. So I'll be like a little upset. It's like, nah, I'll just stop. I'll take a nap, wake up 40 minutes, an hour later. If I'm still not feeling it, I'll go in, listen to some music, do a podcast. In the last couple of years, I've developed a passion for food and cooking. So I'll like cook something or go eat somewhere, and then I'll do it by myself just because it allows me to kind of be in my head and process things without, having other people's input. So now I don't really look at having bad days. I think those are just days where you change your flow and you focus on other things rather than just creating.
And that's interesting. Have you noticed a trend of like what gives you burning inspiration? Like, I need to get in the studio right now and do this. Until it's done.
Yeah, I think it changes every day, but I think lately, because I've been working on my own project as an artist, I've been more inspired to get in the studio and focus on that. But now that I'm done, I'm not really that inspired to work on any more songs, as I was like, I want to do this amount of songs, I want to spend this amount of time working on it. So now I'm just back into just free creating mode, whether that's going in and making some sounds or playing with some keyboard sounds or working with another artist or a producer for one of their projects, or like recently was working on some original songs for a movie. And that was kind of cool too, because they kind of give you a little bit direction of what they're looking for, and it allows you to kind of step in another character or another viewpoint of something that you typically wouldn't do. So yeah, let's try to switch it up.
Is there anything notable about like your daily routine that helps you be better at creating or anything like that? Or you kind of just like take it as
Yeah, Yeah, I take it day by day. You gotta make it do what it do. I feel like if you I feel like as being a professional, you don't wait for inspiration or creativity. You just do it. Like when you've been doing it so long, you kind of just learn. It's like you gotta get it done, and it may not come out the best, but you still create it. And I think each time you create something, like it's still an asset. It still has potential to do something. The idea that you wasn't feeling could be the one thing that the next person is like absolutely is in love with, and that's happened many a time. So yeah, I just get in and do it.
Okay. You mentioned books.
Yeah.
So you like the self-help genre?
Yeah.
Getting better every day.
Yeah, because I guess you could say the end thing is I'm inspired by seeing other people's success. Because now that I'm thinking about it, it's like that's what I like. Like I like seeing that other people had challenges and got to the next point, or started somewhere and ended up at this point that they were going for. So I would say, yeah, that's a big inspiration for me as well.
So, in terms of books, what's the best lesson you've learned from books? But then also, what lesson would you give to other people?
That's a good question. The best lesson. There's a book I read when I first moved to LA called Power of the Subconscious Mind, and I recommend that a lot. And the reason why that sticks out to me is because when I first moved to LA, I had like pretty rough start my first month, just like getting settled in. But I picked up this book, and it was just talking about how much what you think about is in control of the things that happens in your life. And it's not like The Secret, where it's like you think you're gonna get rich, you can sit on the couch and get rich. It's like, no, you have to obviously put the work in, but if you're having these thoughts, you can control that, and that in the end controls your actions. And so that I felt like that just changed my thinking completely. And funny enough, shortly after that first month, when I started reading this book, like things started changing for the better. And so yeah, I would say that book. Yeah. I feel like your mental is one of the most important things, like in this business, and I think now people are starting to talk about it, mental health and things. But with this in this industry, music industry, you have so many people that are critiquing you. You're putting your emotions out there. You're putting your personal experience out there, and these people, their jobs is to tell you we like it or we don't. And if we don't like it, it's not coming out. So, and when you're first starting out, that could be rough, You're bearing your soul out, your voice, you're singing for someone, and you're getting all these opinions. And if your mental isn't straight, you can allow that to like really, really mess with you, and you start thinking, negative things about yourself, when a lot of that stuff is really out of your control. You do a song, everything, like you do a song and you send it to a guy who's in charge of this person's project, and then they happen to listen on some like crappy speakers, so they don't feel the song as if they would have heard it on some big so like there's so many things that are out of your control. And I think if you get your mental right, you'll learn to kind of like not worry about that stuff. That person doesn't like, cool, and keep it moving. Yeah.
Do you take steps actively to do that, or does it just happen?
I won't say it just happens, but I think once you've heard no so many times, I won't say you get numb to it, or I don't want to use the word thick skin either, but at the end of the day, it's only the yeses that matter. So you can get 100 no's. The one yes you get it just cancels out the rest of those no's, and you just keep going, and you're gonna get a yes. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're gonna get a yes. That's why what ends up happening is a lot of people end up giving up too soon because they've heard too many no's. And I'm just like, no, just keep going, just keep going. I know it sounds cliche, but it's a numbers game. Like, you're bound to get a yes. I've developed the habit of just like, no, I gotta do what I gotta do, and we're gonna make it happen. And I feel like you develop that too by like putting in the work. You just don't wake up and start doing that. Like, like if you're, for instance, as a trumpet player, like we was responsible for practicing every single day. They had these rehearsal rooms where we had to go in and practice. When you were done, you had to go home and practice. So you build this routine, and it's like you got to put in the hours. And then once you put in the hours and you do it long enough, it just starts to become natural. And I think, I won't say I've gotten to that point 100%, but that's the way I feel. Like I feel like it just comes natural.
There you have it.
Has it been a process in its own to figure out what the right recipe is for you? Like figuring stuff out?
Yeah.
Or have you figured it out?
No, I haven't figured it out. And I don't think I'll ever figure it out. But that's the fun part, because I'm going to keep trying. I really don't think I don't think there's the perfect recipe, but there are things that you can do to up the chances of getting it right. The whole creative process, and what I mean by that is like, say, depending on what your goal is. So for an example, if your goal is to work with this specific artist who likes these specific types of songs, well, there's a method to the madness to make sure that works. Whether that's you researching the artist or not even looking up the artist at all, because you want to give them something that's completely you. But there's a process of you doing things to like up those chances, and I think that changes every time. I don't think it's the same. Yeah, sure.